Back inside D. Glenn Smith Spectrum in Logan, Utah. Aggies 40, Cowboys 26. Look at the stat line so far in the first half, Joe. It is all about the home team. The efficiency has been fantastic so far.
Well, they look a lot better than they did over at Boise State. They're still not shooting their season average, 47%. They shoot 49% for the season. They're out rebounding the Cowboys by 5 rebounds. I think that's big. Been a pretty clean game. The Aggies only 4 turnovers and 6 by the Cowboys. And as expected, the Aggies bench contributing big with 8 points.
Now the crowd here tonight, student section, are you going to be doing any crowd surfing later on?
No, I tell you what, like I say, I start shaking when I get into this gym. I've been here as an opposing coach, and man, when Stu Moore was here, I was the head coach at Weber State, and coming up here to play was like going to the dentist knowing you're going to root canal. I mean, it was no fun up here. This is, as I said, great history, not just Stu Moore, but a whole lot of successful coaches up here, successful teams. This is an outstanding traditional basketball program.
Yeah, it's a good barn to play in. Aggies so far this season, 7-1 at home, 13-3 overall.
There's Maldonado in the place he likes to operate, looking around the defense.
And he scores the first points of the second half. He'll have to go to work as frequently as possible if the Cowboys have any ideas of coming back and pulling off an upset.
The only guy in this game who didn't come out played all 20 minutes. He played all 40 minutes Saturday. You would think he would be tired, but here's a guy that in his career, he's played 44 minutes in a game 3 different times. So he's used to playing long minutes.
Yeah, he's got the stamina, that's for sure. Shoga counters it.
Shoga's had a nice game, and it's all been done within about 5 feet from the basket. 3 of 6. He now has 8 points.
The one problem with the Cowboys this season, defensive efficiency is down. Ducell attacking. That shot is swatted out of bounds. Atkin, who was busy late in the first half, looked like he banged knees and left for a moment in time. Returns emphatically here in the second half.
And Atkins starting this half instead of Doris. As I said, with this smaller Cowboy lineup, Doris has a hard time to match up to anybody.
Aggies have blocked 4 shots so far in this contest. Anderson. Air ball, Odin trying to pick it up, put it in. No, but 2 free throws heading his way. Taylor Funk hacked him across the right arm.
Jeremiah Odom just kind of grows on you. He is so active, a thin, long body, only 200 pounds at 6'8", but boy, he is all over the place. Coming off back-to-back double-figure games for the first time this season. He had 13 against New Mexico, 15 in their narrow loss to San Diego State, where he also tied his season-high 7 rebounds. So he's a guy who is making the most of his extra minutes because of this short bench.
Got a clock issue right now. It wasn't because of Drake in the background giving any kind of distraction to Odin. Coach, we have a moment to chat about this. Conference tournaments are right around the corner. Of course, the NCAA tournament is also here. It's fascinating to look at the Mountain West Conference as a whole, because a few analysts out there have Boise State on the outside looking in, Utah State as one of those teams on the outside looking in, New Mexico hovering around. How do you see this thing play out?
Well, I think it's way too early to start talking about who's in, who's out. I think I used to tell my teams in terms of how you finish in the conference and the conference championship, certainly in NCAA, every week you have a chance to play your way in or your way out. All of a sudden, someone like Boise State wins a couple big games, they'll be saying, oh, they're in for sure. Next week, if New Mexico loses a couple games, well, that really hurt their chances. So I think every week you have an opportunity. That's a reason you can never let your guard down.
Maldonado pulls the trigger and lets it rip.
One of the few times you see him on the right side of the court, not a terrific three-point shooter, only a 30% shooter, but he knows how to make it go in when it's tight.
Nice spin move by Bairstow, drawn front and then back iron, no good. Odin with the rebound. Back comes Maldonado. Spin move is sweet against Bairstow. Count that one too. He's heating up.
I tell you, Bairstow had his feet moving. He just couldn't make a stand early enough. Maldonado, when he brings that you and he's got a head of steam, boy, you better buckle up because he is very acrobatic getting to the basket, as you just saw.
You blinked, and all of a sudden he's in double-digit scoring for the Cowboys. He's got 13 to pace them.
Very, very explosive. High for the year is 28 against Howard University.
Funk left alone for three, no good. Anderson with the rebound. And so slowly and surely, the Cowboys have quieted down the fans here and have clawed back into this thing. Maldonado, that one's way short, air ball, and he'll be serenaded from the hometown faithful. Akin, stronger, bigger, completes that against Maldonado. There's no chance there for Hunter.
A little bit of a mismatch, and Ashworth recognized it from about half court and made a very, very nice post feed there. As I say, Ashworth doesn't always make flashy passes, but he always makes the appropriate pass.
Polo into the lane. Good defense, though, from Bairstow with a hand in his face. No good. Akin with the rebound. Quickly goes back to work. Funk with a reverse layup. That's way too easy.
Way too easy. That's that transition defense, or lack of transition defense I was talking about in the first half by the Cowboys. Coach Linder can't be real happy with that.
So they cut the deficit, did Wyoming, down to 8. And now it's to 12.
As you said, Funk's drive was just way too easy, man.
That looked like a travel, way too many steps. Ball don't lie. Ashworth in transition. We got 1 point so far. Behind the back pass from Funk. A blow by Ashworth, goes up and one. Well, he's 6'1", but he climbed the ladder against 6'7" Maldonado. He got buried, knew he was going to get contact, but made it count.
What a great finish. Like kid, 6'1", head up, chin off his chest. You and I were talking at halftime. He only has 1 point, and I think his role without Ryland Jones in the lineup really changes. Ryland Jones, the consummate point guard, out with concussion protocol. But right now, Ashworth is having to do all the ball handling. With Ryland Jones, Jones handles it, Ashworth gets open, and Jones gets it to him. Now Ashworth is the point guard, which changes his role quite a bit.
This approach there from Anderson. Ashworth again feeds it to Funk. Funk with the right-hand circus shot's good. The shooter's touch along the way.
Well, last time it was Funk to Ashworth. That time Ashworth to Funk. They are just like they're playing down to rec center right now.
22 points for Funk. It's the 4th time this season he's scored 20 or more. 20th time in his career he's eclipsed that mark. Backdoor feed. Maldonado. Tough shot underneath the cylinder. No good. It's a 15-point lead. Shulga looking for more. Jeff Linder is in a call for time, and he badly needs it. Well, the barrage continues into the second half, and Utah State wants to blow the doors off this thing. It is all Aggies so far. They are cruising right now, leading by 18. We'll be back. Back here in Logan, Utah. Wyoming leads the all-time series, 53 up, 33 down. But tonight they are down, and Joe, I don't know if they can get up.
Well, the Aggies are feeling pretty good about things right now. It's been the Ashworth Funk show, Funk Ashworth shows. They have played off of each other like two guys have been playing together forever. And then obviously this is their first year of Funk right now with 22 points, which ties his season high that he had against Santa Clara, where he also went 4 of 6 from the three-point line.
And you saw the conference standings right there. I brought up before the pause and the timeout, just because of the NCAA tournament being right around the corner. Some interesting programs across the nation, not just in the Mountain West. So you think about the Big Ten, I mean, they're absolutely loaded. Northwestern's up there making some noise. Iowa's down in the tank right now. They're a team on the bubble. So you have to figure you're going to get a handful of teams from those bigger conferences that'll make it to the big dance, as Anderson scores right there. Coach, take me through this. We're about 15 minutes left in regulation. How does Wyoming cut this deficit in half and make it a run?
Well, they got to get some stops. I think anytime you make a comeback, it comes first at the defensive. I love this little set coming out of a timeout by the Aggies. They cross the wings, and it ends up being a pin down. that time for Funk, who got fouled there. Funk's having a big night. I guess maybe if you poke him in the eye a couple times, it may stop him. But right now, it is all Aggies.
Last time these two teams got together, 2022, February the 8th, Aggies lost in overtime at Wyoming, 78-76. Stephen Ashworth right there at 16 points. He leads the team in scoring this year, but tonight, Joe, completely different sequence for him.
Well, how about a kid that leads the nation in three-point shooting, just sacrificing that shooting to run the team tonight. 7 assists, 2 steals, but 1 turnover, and that was kind of a casual turnover. He has been outstanding playing the point guard position tonight.
Shulgin's got 11 points so far and counting. Bears still lost the handle on the baseline. Funk collecting it, pinned into the corner. 5 seconds to go in the shot clock. No good. Catches nothing but air. And a rebound for Odin, and back comes Wyoming. 54-38 is the score in this contest. Cowboys had 1 lead. It was 3-2.
Well, as I said, they've got to get some stops to make any kind of comeback at all. And that guy there is the leading rebounder in the game. Atkins with 9 rebounds now. He's had trouble making it go through the hoop, but boy, he has been a man on the glass.
And 9 rebounds in 16 minutes. Ashworth on the deck. There's still Shulgin wide open. Yes, sir. I mean, the rotation is one thing, but the breakdown with Ashworth on the floor creates some chaos for Wyoming's defense.
That ball never sticks in an Aggie's hands. A lot of times you see teams catch the ball and they hold it, measure it up, then pass it. That thing spins around the perimeter quicker than a blink of an eye for the Aggies.
Anderson, Maldonado trying to create against Atkin. Dumped down for Powell. Passes off the mark. Here's Ashworth.
Ashworth now with 3 steals.
Bears still.
And you notice every time they back cut, they fill cut behind it to give an outlet pass. And that's a real subtlety of this Aggie offense.
10,000 here inside the arena thought that was a foul. Maldonado swiped it out of the hands. Ducell for 3, nothing but twine.
Ducell 4 for 4 against San Diego State from the 3-point line. That was deep on that one.
A battered and bruised team, the Wyoming Cowboys, looking for some offensive productivity in the second half. Bears still attacking into the lane, and that'll be a blocking foul against Anderson.
Bears still, for as good as he shoots it, is just a very, very average free throw shooter this year. This is his 99th game, though, as an Aggie. Great family tradition here. His sister Stephanie played here. I did many games over in New Mexico when his brother Cam played for Steve Alford over there. Cam went on to be a 2nd-round draft pick for the Bulls and played for a couple years for the Bulls. I would assume he's over in Australia playing now.
10 points against Boise State. An efficient day at the office shooting. Battle Rock comes back in. RJ didn't see a lot of time in the opening half. He makes his return here into the second. Just 7 minutes in that opening 20 minutes of play. Scored a couple points.
Battle Rock has really changed roles this year. He's a kid that started 30 of 31 games on that team that had 18 wins last year. Has now been relegated to a probably 7th, 8th guy off that bench now, but has accepted that and has really contributed to this Aggie team.
Utah State trying to get their 14th win in 17 games that are on their way.
Remember, they started off with 9 straight wins to start the year, which tied the school record. They were 1 win away from setting a new record when the Weber State Wildcats, an in-state rival, came in. And the Aggies had them down 18 the first half, and the Wildcats came back and upset them here.
Stark, you'd have to go all the way back to the early 1900s for them. Ducell pops another 3. Well, he's going to let it fly no matter what.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Against San Diego State, he had his season high at 15 points. Only his second double-figure game where he went 4 of 5 from the three-point line. He's heating up again here in Aggie land.
See if that means anything, because the defense of Wyoming has to come up big. Just a matter if they can. Hamoda, off-balance shots no good. Polo collects the rebound, and Maldonado will lock things up.
Hamoda has a long, live, athletic body. He's got to get stronger, though. I thought the physicalness of the game over at Boise State really had an effect on him. He got shut out over there, but he adds about 10 or 15 pounds of muscle before his career's over. He's going to be an all-league player, I think.
Atkin volleyed it to himself. That's now 10 rebounds in the game for him. Three-pointer on the way for Hamoda as he chimes in.
You think Hamoda looked over and said, how's that for that added 10 or 15 pounds, Coach? I can still do that.
That's their 8th three in this contest, 2 off their season average. Maldonado double-team Atkin with another block shot. That's now 5 in the game for the Aggies as a club. Utah State has been everything and then some. Z Hamoda chimes in. His 3 gives the Aggies an 18-point lead. See the score and the situation. Just under 11 minutes to play in regulation. Utah State big right now over Wyoming. 62-44 is the score. If you're just joining us, Taylor Funk has been on fire for the Aggies. 22 points, shooting 70% from the field. As Joe, we look into the net rankings. We have the Mountain West Conference standings. The top 25 we've covered a little bit, but the net rankings, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells me it's a pretty good basketball league this year. The Mountain West Conference, year in, year out, is a really good year, or is a really good basketball conference. I think this year is one of the better years. Still a lot of time for the NCAA tournament, but I think they could get as many as 4 teams into the NCAA tournament if they finish strong. But that net ranking, to me, carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, the one problem I look at in the Mountain West Conference is the conference does have a great deal of depth. And so a lot of these clubs will be knocking each other off.
No question. No question. Again, a lot can happen. As I say, every week you got a chance to play your way in or play your way out of contention.
Catch and shoot for 3. That tap in by Barnhart. Not like he drew it up, but it all counts the same for the big man as he skies up for it. It helps when you're 7 feet tall.
I'm not too sure Doris didn't have an awful lot to do with that going in as well.
Shulga. Some traffic underneath. Dorius uses his muscle and returns fire.
Dorius, who leads this team in field goal percentage, you can see why. He only shoots them when he's almost point blank. Nice pass by Shulga there.
First points of the ball game for Dorius. And his second shot of the affair. There's Odin against Shulga. Nice
individual defense by Shulga there. Odin is pretty quick going to the basket.
Polo, the floater into the lane is nice. Good finesse right there for big men.
Yeah. Now, Polo, I think, is a very talented kid. He's long. He can shoot it in. He can get to the basket. He's thin, and I think the season kind of wears him down a little bit, especially if he's going to have to play longer minutes, which he's going to have to with his depleted bench.
Bairstow was in good range right there from the block, but a bad pass and a turnover. We took a look offensively.
There's Shulga putting that through a crack in the door almost with Dorius. They're an outstanding pass. Ogbach Polo, the long arms and a real nice touch off the rim. That last play by Bairstow brings up a point that I think the Aggies fall prey to every once in a while. I think they're too unselfish. Bairstow had the ball right at the rim there. He should have shot it instead of passed to that.
Ashworth by himself. Good steal or a steal from Dorius. Ashworth now trying to get his name in the box score with more points. He's got 6. Season average is 16. He leads the team.
So under control is Ashworth. You never see him leave his feet when he doesn't know what he's going to do. That time he got it into the lane, a little hesitation dribble, went up with his offhand. I'm telling you, this kid, I watched him. Here he is going to his left. Watch this, going up off of 2 feet, head up on the rim. The Aggies just sent out a press release this week that they're getting ready to retire J.C. Carroll's uniform number here is the second all-time leading Aggie scorer, and he is so much like Stephen Ashworth. It's unbelievable. They look like twins almost the way they play.
Back-to-back shots from Agbunkpolo go down, plus the foul. Try to complete this three-point play to create any kind of hope or sense of it, Joe. You feel like in this situation, if you're Wyoming, you can't afford to trade paint anymore with Utah to go score for score.
No, as I said, I think it always starts at the defensive end. And one place that the Cowboys have really fallen short, as we saw Ashworth dribble the length of the court to a basket, is a transition defense. They have got to get their defense started out around half court and get that ball stopped, and they have really fallen short in that area tonight.
So Hamoda with a travel. A rare turnover in this contest for Utah State, just their 7th of the contest. So it's a 16-point lead with 9 minutes to play in regulation. Does Wyoming have a burst in it?
Well, they might. With Agbunkpolo getting heated up a little bit, Maldonado has got to get going again.
Odin, he can't finish. We're about 8 feet out. Atkins on the court. Will Rock as well. Ashworth, Funk, and Shulga.
Ashworth really running the show, getting guys where they're supposed to be. Starting to show a little fatigue is Ashworth in my mind, but boy, he plays hard. He is involved with virtually every play on the court.
Funk with a step back, feet were on the lines, no good. It's a rare miss. Aggies have hit 9 of their last 12 shots.
Funk still setting on his season high 22 with 4 made three-point shots.
There's Anderson into the lane. That shot no good. Front iron. Atkins saves it. Atkins got 12 rebounds and counting so far for the Aggies. That shot will not count. Wiped away. Barnhart with a reach-in foul. As we're under 8 minutes to play in regulation. Utah State on the way to get their 14th victory of the season. They are cruising right now, up by 16. Saturday night, it's Fox Primetime Hoops featuring a Pac-12 showdown between Colorado and 7th-ranked UCLA. It all tips off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Fox and the Fox Sports app. That'll be fun in Westwood, and the temperatures at tip-off, Joe, will probably be about 30 to 40 degrees warmer than it is here in Logan, Utah right now.
They probably won't have to worry about is it snowing on the way home like you and I are going to have to worry about.
And I had to pack away the shorts and sandals for a few days, unfortunately, in Southern California. Oddly enough, there was rain for 4 consecutive days in LA. And of course, the traffic came with it. Ashworth chiming in, back iron for 3, no good. Funk with the rebound, the floater stays out. Akin, 3rd, crack at it, 4th, no, that won't come. Rebound by Powell, and back comes Wyoming. 66-50. Utah State has the advantage. They've nearly led wire to wire, and this season they have been lights out when scoring 80 or more. Powell with the illegal screen.
Atkin now with 13 rebounds. That is his 5th game with double-digit rebounds this season. Just a little bit of movement there by Powell, and that's all it takes. You have got to get set and keep those feet on the floor.
Bear still. Funk. Again. Off the mark.
Funk has gone a little bit cold after tying his season high. I'm not too sure he's not starting to show a little fatigue.
7 minutes to play in regulation. Anderson off balance shot, no good. Level of difficulty was rather high, but he grabs his miss. Agbunkpolo trying to ditch Ashworth. That'll be a blocking foul. Shot won't fall down. Agbunkpolo though to the charity stripe for a pair.
That was pretty darn good defense by Ashworth. It probably was a blocking foul, but what great lateral movement, throwing his body around. It looked like his backcourt mate who's out with concussion protocol, Ryland Jones there. They really miss Ryland Jones, I think, simply because that changes Ashworth's job description, so to speak. He's used to playing off of Ryland Jones. Ryland Jones, the consummate point guard when it comes to delivering the ball and distributing. And Ashworth now has become the point guard.
Well, he won't get any pity from Wyoming. Graham Ike's been out. He's been out the entire season. Brendan Wenzel's out for at least a couple of weeks. Noah Reynolds out because of a concussion against New Mexico. And for Jeff Linder, he's rolling with 8 scholarship players here tonight. Tall task, shoveled over. Akin flushes that home.
What a great pass.
Well, the Friends in Sin City had this game posted right around 10.5 points of a margin of victory for Utah State.
And I'm glad we didn't bet that.
18-point lead right now for the Aggies. They're getting contributions up and down the lineup. Starters and, of course, the reserves. Agbenpolo Trey kicking that away from Ashworth.
Okay, Ashworth is everywhere, picking up loose balls, distributing the ball. He got hit in the eye a while ago, and he barely blinked as he brought the ball up the cart. Not only is he talented, he is tougher than a top pine knot. What this great pass by Funk into Atkin, the guy that leads the nation in double-doubles off the bench.
What kind of knot did you say?
A pine knot. If you've ever cut any wood, you hit a pine knot, that's pretty tough. You guys from Southern California probably never cut any wood, I would suspect.
Joe, that's shots fired at me. I will defer to you on that once again.
Well, being that this is first game we've worked together, you probably not heard some of those Southern Indiana slangs of mine.
Odin a tough time at the hoop again. Tell you what, though, even though he didn't start this game off the bench, Dan Atkin, a double-double for him. Hard work, 10 points, 13 boards.
Boy, he is a workhorse, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he lays it out there every time he hits the court. And 6'9", 225, he's a pretty good-sized fella. But, man, oh, man, does he play hard.
Tell you what, the one dynamic that Utah State brings to the party that's rather unique in the Mountain West Conference is the complementary pieces off the bench. So once you get deep into the season, the attrition, the durability, that all plays a factor in the conference tournament, and then eventually to the NCAAs. Odin with an open 3, that's off the mark as well. Wyoming tonight, 4 of 11 from long range.
Well, Dave, I've always said you don't wake up one morning as a coach and have a deep bench. That has to be a plan. You have to really work at that. And Coach Odom has done a great job of developing his bench and team chemistry.
Well, it's all raining threes. Bairstow with an exclamation point. 23-point advantage for the Aggies. Funk almost travel. Atkin says hello. And good night to the Cowboys.
Talking about how Aiken runs the floor, and he's rewarded now with his 5th double-double to lead all bench players across the United States.
Well, this is a runaway of rather large proportions for Utah State. 75-50 is the score. They came in this ball game under Ryan Odom's tutelage 25-8 when leading at the end of the first half. That'll certainly go to 26-8. More importantly for them, they continue to protect home court. They'll be 8-1 here at home. And now 14-3 overall. The beat goes on, and it's not going to get any easier for the Aggies. Same thing with the Cowboys, but on tap now for Utah State. They'll be at Nevada, so they're going to travel to Reno. That's not going to be easy. No. Not easy to fly into, not easy to play at. And for Wyoming, they'll be at home. They have a date with Boise State.
Yeah.
So they'll be licking their wounds for a couple of days.
Well, Wyoming needs to get back, rest a little bit. Gotta, when you only have 8 players, people know, boy, that really shortens your bench, has an effect on the game. Where it has a big effect is in practice.
Yeah.
Now, he'll have some walk-ons and some guys can help him in practice, but what I mean is it affects practice. You can't go very hard in practice when you're only playing 8 guys. You only have 8 guys on your bench because fatigue becomes a huge factor. We're only at January 10th. We still got a whole bunch of basketball ahead of us.
Now the timeout. Maldonado hits a three.
Well, that was a nice looking shot. He really snapped that one off. A real nice follow through there by Maldonado.
Tell you what, school's not back in session for another couple days for Utah State, but their student section came in nice and prime for this contest, and they showed out as much as the players do. And that is a hammer being dropped by Sean Bairstow. Wow.
And I think that little celebration just earned him a technical foul, which I don't think he was trying to show anyone up. I just think he was showing a lot of emotion there. But I guess the referee did what he was supposed to do.
And the right play right there is head coach Ryan Odom's going to his defense.
Yes, yes.
And that's, like you said, raw emotion from Bairstow. That is a sledgehammer onto the dome of the Cowboys.
Bairstow's a kid who has put in his time here and kind of waited for his opportunity, and he's got it this year. He's playing his 99th game here for the Aggies, and his game has really, really grown. To give you an example of how hard he's worked at it, last year he was a 12% three-point shooter.
Not good.
No, not good.
Not good.
Not good.
He's shooting 53% from the field this season.
Yes.
And the Aussie was a member of the U19 squad in Australia, their national team, showing out here in the United States as Maldonado's, that shot won't count. But Bairstow tonight, 5 of 8 from the field, 14 points in 32 minutes. As we have a media timeout on the court, 4 minutes to play in regulation. It is a runaway train. That is the Utah State Aggies. They're rolling right now, up by 23. Aggies continue to fire away, running away with this thing, beating up on Wyoming 77-54. Thursday, FS1 is proud to present All Access as Minnesota takes on Ohio State. Minnesota coach Ben Johnson and Ohio State coach Chris Holtmann will be mic'd live. The game comes your way commercial free. It means you'll go into every huddle, halftime talks, all live. It's the ultimate All Access experience this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. exclusively on FS1. And Joe, a hot mic while we have a moment in time with the student body section. Big thanks to our producer tonight, Bruce Wolf, director Brian Peters, and our statistician, Davis Hoffman, well-dressed. I told him he might need a three-piece suit next time we hang out with him, but could not do without our entire FS1 crew here in Logan, Utah. So big thanks to Bruce and Brian driving this truck tonight.
No question. They have led us in the right direction all night long.
Gave us some navigation on where to eat, how to drive these challenging roads at times. So a fun atmosphere here, though, in Logan.
It is. You know, it's not even sold out, which when they sell it out here, it's deafening, and they always draw well. I'll give you a little trivia here. The unique color of the bleachers here, you've probably never seen before. That is supposed to represent autumn leaves.
Interesting.
I thought you'd find that interesting.
Atkin, alley-oop comes his way.
Atkin now with 14 points, 14 rebounds, 1 rebound off his season high of 15. He's having a pretty good evening.
It's the 10th time this season that the Aggies have had a player record a double-double. Maldonado, he goes tough to the cup. He gets fouled by Atkin. So the and one. Back to the alley-oop.
Atkin, who was having a little trouble early in this game and over in Boise making it go in around the hoop, he didn't have any trouble on that one. If you want to get entertained and understand what Stephen Ashworth brings to this team, focus on him at the defensive end. I mean, he is all over the place, and they are up by 22, and you'd think it's a tie game. He is still just playing with unbelievable energy and playing his heart out. 7 assists, 3 steals, only 6 points. The Aggies have 4 guys in double figures. The one guy is not is their leading scorer, Stephen Ashworth.
Schulgo with a step back, hand in his face, drawn back iron. Barnhart with the rebound. But I tell you what, it's tough for an athlete, whether it's professional or amateur, to turn off that switch. It's the engagement of wanting to win, wanting to compete. You can't just put it off and on.
Well, I don't think he has an off switch. He probably even sleeps fast. He's a kid that, I mean, I have grown to appreciate him more and more and more every time I watch him play.
But take me through this, though, Joey, because you had mentioned it. He's leading the team right now in assists, but for the team's leading scorer, he stepped back off that pedestal. He's got 6 points, but 7 assists. How can a player of his caliber do that?
Well, I tell you, it's almost like he has taken it on to make everyone around him better. Again, you talk about flipping the switch. He's gone from a shooting guard where Ryland Jones sets him up and finds him to being the guy distributing the ball, and he has done it without blinking an eye. He has not forced a shot tonight, David. You know, you think about a team's leading scorer, the leading three-point shooter in the nation. Some guys would be thinking, wow, I need to get a couple shots up here. He's not forced one shot this entire night.
Well, it's been a business-like approach tonight for the Utah State Aggies. They have gone nearly wire to wire in this thing. Trailed early on 3-2. Bairstow for 3, rims in and out of the cylinder. But they have kept their foot on the collective gas.
They have.
All night, and there's no reason to let up.
Well, this is an old team. This isn't like a bunch of, guys that just got together and 2 or 3 freshmen, 2 or 3 sophomores. This is a very old Utah State team. So these guys have been around the stump a few times, and they have really learned to play off of one another, with one another. They have great team chemistry, and Ryan Odom gets a lot of that credit.
Bairstow launches a 3. Missed on that. Here comes Maldonado. Maldonado has 20 points. A lot of it cosmetic here in the second half. Odom for 3. That's good.
Maldonado's 4th 20-plus game scoring of the year. He's coming off a 20-point game in their narrow loss to San Diego State.
Well, offensively, there's some good things for Wyoming tonight. They have 4 players in double-digit scoring. But it's the defense that has been less resistant than it has been in a couple games against San Diego State, against New Mexico. And they're allowing the Aggies to shoot 51% from the field. And we got a player down for Wyoming. That's Ducell right in front of us.
I'm not sure what happened there. I was watching Ashworth, and all of a sudden we got a player down right here in front of you and I.
Ducell appears to be okay. Tell you what, we had a good conversation with one of the assistant coaches of Wyoming, Ken DeWeese. He had a lot of glowing remarks for Utah State and talked about the challenging events this year for Wyoming. And you see Ducell go down right there at the top right of your screen. And if you are Jeff Linder, you're thinking,
not again.
Oh, no.
Oh, not again. Not again. Yeah, Coach Ken DeWeese Jr., outstanding assistant coach. His dad won over 800 games as a college coach in the state of Texas. An old buddy of mine, Ken DeWeese Sr. I hope Coach DeWeese Sr. is doing well. His son has developed into a heck of a college coach.
Aiken again off glass. As we're under a minute to play in regulation. Agbunk Polo trying to chip in a little bit more.
And Ashworth is just everywhere. A kid that I thought about 2 months ago was simply a catch and shoot guy that stood around, waited to get an open 3. I mean, he is diving on the floor, rebounding. I'm not sure the night is long enough to say enough good things about this kid.
Dan Aiken will be cheered on. His night was fantastic. 16 points, 15 rebounds, tying a career high. The efficiency, the energy, the offense, the defense. He was an absolute pest against these Cowboys.
One of the best bench guys coming off the bench in the entire nation. 5 double-doubles for the year, man.
Yeah, transfer from Cal Baptist, which is down in Southern California in the Inland Empire area. Just off the 91 freeway in the city of Riverside.
Ashworth, an 83% free throw shooter.
This is all cosmetic, and so the bench will be empty for both clubs, more so for Utah State than for Jeff Linder in Wyoming. They have the resources. Cowboys do not. So a message certainly has been sent tonight by Utah State. Not only can they get punched in the mouth like they did against Boise State, but they can get up, they can recover, and respond in kind.
Well, as I said, they're an old team. It's not like they're a bunch of rookies that haven't been around a long time. And Ryan Odom has done a great job of molding this team, assigning roles, and those roles have been accepted. And his son with the ball in his hand right now.
And that'll do it here. Standing ovation for the Utah State Aggies. They win this thing in a laugher. Final score tonight, 83-63. Utah State with their 14th victory of the season. It's loss number 6 in a row for the Cowboys as they fall to 5-11.
Well, it was all Aggies. They got back on track after, as I call it, that bushwhack over at Boise last Saturday. And they go home feeling pretty good about things. And the Cowboys, the tough luck Cowboys, just got to keep playing.
So after they got beat 3 days ago by 23 points, they come back tonight and win by 20. Heck of a performance by Utah State Aggies. They win this thing tonight, and that'll do it here from D. Glenn Smith Spectrum in Logan, Utah, with tonight's final score. Aggies win it 83-63. For Joe Cravens, our entire Fox crew, I'm David Gascon. Thanks for watching College Hoops on FS1. We'll see you again on Thursday night. Have a great evening, everyone. So long.